and welcome to a nifty and swifty episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I have lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for over 5 years.
Wow.
I'm a Tiny Habit certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach, and I am both nifty and almost 50.
Oh, you are. You are.
Who are you?
I am Donald Weigel, and I am also one of the hosts of this show, and I have lost about 100 pounds and have kept it off for, I guess it's been over 5 years now.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I am also nifty, and I am a Swifty. I don't know if I'm really a Swifty, but I like Taylor Swift.
But you're over 50?
I'm over 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Swifty over 50.
Oh, gross. For some reason, a dude being a nifty Swifty 50 is a little iffy.
Is it weird?
That doesn't really.
Ifty?
An ifty?
Yeah. But yeah, we are talking about Swifties because 2 episodes ago, we called our episode Antihero, which is a Taylor Swift song, which I have to admit I did not know until my wife told me about it. But
I listened to Taylor Swift a little bit because our daughter, we're in the car, we're driving, and Taylor Swift comes on the radio.
Yeah, Catherine still listens to the radio, which is
a thing. Actually, it's satellite radio. So does that count?
I guess. I don't know.
You know what? Here's the point where you asked me if I've actually seen Taylor Swift in concert.
Have you seen Taylor Swift in concert?
I have.
You have? I know you did.
I did. I know. We're so organic in our chit-chat at the beginning of episodes. But back in 2018, a friend of Donald's, friend of the show, April, actually asked me to go to see Taylor Swift. And I was like, what else am I going to do? I wasn't a huge Taylor Swift fan, must say.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't tell this story because there were so many people were upset about the last round of Taylor Swift tickets because they couldn't get them.
Oh, look at you knowing all the things that a Swiftie knows.
There was a big brouhaha about that, and you're like, I just kind of wanted to go, and I got to go. Yeah.
Well, there are a couple of stories behind that.
It was 2018. It wasn't.
It was in the before times.
Yeah.
But went to the show, and part of that. Okay, you're going to hear my Taylor Swift show story because
I did not know this was happening.
Okay, so I went to the show, and I was super into weight loss at the time.
Yeah.
And I said to myself,
now.
unlike now, but I was like, you know what? I am not going to eat anything at the show. I am not going to eat anything at the show.
I remember this now.
And they had all this artisanal stuff and high-end, snacks and charcuterie and beverages, signature cocktails by Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Actually, no, she wasn't mixing before the show. But anyway, but I was like, you know what? She is
so dedicated. She tends bar before the show and during intermission.
Anyway, it was an amazing show. Hands down, top performer, super into the audience. She actually went to all 4 corners of the audience to sing, and she made it very special.
And
for
she also
everyone.
went to all 4 corners of our hearts.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Anyway, so went to the show, amazing show, great, Taylor Swift. And then turns out I'm the problem, it's me, because when I came home, I ended up eating 1,500 calories of snacks as revenge for not eating just one sandwich at the show. So that was a lesson to me, tip of the week, just eat something at the show.
I've done that so many times in my life. I starve myself during the day when I'm at some event and then I get home and I just, I eat food I don't even really wouldn't even enjoy as much as what I would have had at the gathering, party, concert, theme park, whatever.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Well, and I think that this ties nicely into this episode.
I think it does as well.
Justifying things and finding out that you're the problem. It's you.
Yeah. So this Taylor Swift song, Antihero, she talks about how she's the problem, it's her, which we called last episode, I'm the problem, it's me.
Which is super fun.
Yeah. This is part 3 of our hard-hitting journalistic Swiftisode. Part three of the Swiftisode. And this one is the Look, WOLT, You Made Me Do.
See, I actually know that song. Ooh, look what you made me do.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I've heard that one too.
Weird Al is going to cover it also.
Yeah.
Because,
he'll have to get permission from us now.
From us through Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I'm sure she would approve. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't approve Weird Al to do one of your songs, but so we've been talking about the last few weeks about self-negotiating, and just a quick recap. Self-negotiating is essentially when you make a plan to do something, and then you, in the spur of the moment, you talk yourself into doing something else.
Spontaneity should be planned, is what we're saying, everyone.
Yes, exactly. That's right. So in the first part of this, we talked about what is self-negotiating, the difference between an excuse and a reason, and identifying your own self-negotiating tactics.
Yep. And last week, we talked about how to start building your habits into systems, taking negotiations out of the process, and creating plans and backup plans.
And all of this has been sort of based on, we've been using an article that we found online by Nicole Booz, Booze. It could just be Booze. And I even went to her YouTube channel because I felt bad about mispronouncing her last name. And she just says, "Hi, it's Nicole."
It's pronounced Nicole.
Yeah. So Nicole, she wrote an article, which I will link to in the show notes. Stop negotiating with yourself, changing your habits once and for all. And so in this episode, we are going to tie a nice self-negotiation bow on it.
Oh.
And we are going to talk
booze.
about booze. It's not a self-negotiating booze. We are going to talk about creating policies for yourself and rewriting your self-negotiation based on your policies and plans.
Wow. It takes a lot of work to stop making old stories not work for you, doesn't it, Donald?
It really, really does. And one of the reasons we are focusing on this, and, if you've listened to the show for any length of time, you know that the typical health and fitness community or journey source, they tend to talk about, okay, this is the diet plan you should go on, and these are the exercises that you should do, and you need to eat these foods and paint by numbers, and they ignore all of the mindset things that we discovered over the course of doing this were the real keys to making it happen. You can do 1,000 different types of plans and diets and exercises and make them work for you. And ultimately, what you're trying to do is burn more calories than you eat. And that is true. But in order to get there and in order to consistently do that, doing all of these mindset exercises were the real breakthrough, and figuring out how much lying I was doing to myself over the years and figuring out how to call myself on it and stop doing it was one of the keys to actually getting the 100 pounds off and keeping it off.
Well, and I think too, going back to the sort of title of this episode, Look What You Made Me Do, is that when you follow someone else's plan and follow their, prescription to the letter, and then it doesn't work and you revenge eat, look what you made me do. And you blame others. But fortunately or unfortunately, when you start actually making plans yourself and taking responsibility, then you're the problem. It's you. And but really, that growth mindset really matters, and taking responsibility is where the magic happens.
Yeah, that "ooh, look what you made me do." The "you" is actually you. Was that confusing? The "you"?
Yeah,
you, the
I
you
thought you were going to talk about a sheep.
The "you" in the mirror was actually you. A sheep.
Look what you
made me do. Our farming podcast. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so what do you do?
What do you do, Donald?
What do you do?
You tell me what to do.
So one of the things that we suggest is to set specific policies around your goals. And the author calls them rules. I don't love calling them rules because, there's always that rules are meant to be broken, man. But when you're making your policies, you make them so that you eliminate your choices later. So in other words, you have a policy in place for circumstances when they come up, when surprises come up, when even just your own like whims come up. Like you've already set a policy though to keep yourself kind of in check and keep yourself on track.
Well, and something that I have started calling policies are also setting standards for yourself.
Yes.
When you set certain standards, it's like you're elevating yourself. You're making sure that you're following what you say you want to do instead of giving in to the moment. So policies and standards are what we do.
Absolutely. And you can make these policies and standards around time of day of the week, portion control, and we'll give you some examples of these as we go.
Yeah, and also the frequency of the indulgence, the place at which you have the item, or whether you do it in a group or by yourself.
Yeah, so some examples of this from the article are, she has a policy, the author, Nicole, I eat desserts at restaurants, not at home. This makes it easy not to buy treats at the store. So her policy is she only eats desserts when she goes out. So she doesn't ever buy them at the store.
Yeah, they're not forbidden.
You don't bring them home, but she does allow herself to have them. And then another one of hers is, I do laundry and clean house on Sunday. And this is a habit that she is trying to form. Doing it weekly on a specific day makes it non-negotiable for her.
Well, and making it Sunday specific is like, okay, I'm going to do it on Sunday, but you know what? If I miss this Sunday, I'll just do it next Sunday. And then just keeping it to that schedule makes it so that you're not, over negotiating with yourself.
Yeah, and we talked about last episode having a plan and a backup plan. So the plan might be, I'm going to do this specific thing on a Sunday, but okay, you've got your old college friend coming to town or surprises you by showing up on that day.
Which actually happened
to us recently, yeah. And you can't do that on Sunday, then your backup plan is, well, I will do that on Wednesday or Saturday or whatever. But you have a backup plan in place so that you're doing it, on your second choice plan.
Right. So another one is I only buy coffee on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that helps me budget and stop myself from buying coffee every single day, but I still get the coffee that I want. So it's not forbidden.
Yeah,
it's just occasional.
And if you wanted to change that, make that to a weight loss thing, it's sort of like, well, if you are somebody who buys like the venti, I don't know what, 500 calorie Starbucks drink on
Snackachino.
Yeah, 6 days a week, maybe your new policy is, well, I'm only going to have it on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm going to make it a tall or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to cut down your calories.
But again, it's not forbidding something, it's just moderating your consumption. And another one, and we've done many episodes on this, is pairing is caring. I guess we don't actually say pairing is caring, do we?
No, we say pump up the volume. Pump up the caring.
Wait, should we say pairing is caring like that?
Pairing is caring.
See, it's fun.
Yeah.
But I paired and cared yesterday.
Oh, you did? That's right.
When I got my haircut, I parked right in front of a local bagel establishment.
Yeah.
And got myself one bagel. And I would like some extra credit in a very big way right now. We're going to pause the episode for a second.
Yeah.
Pausing is also caring. So I went into the bagelry at about 3
Oh, yeah. You told me this.
3 o'clock. And I said, 1 American sesame seed bagel, please, in a bag. And they said, okay. And then they said, she sort of pulled me and she's like, do you want more bagels? And okay, this was a big one.
Yeah.
Get ready, everybody. Here it comes. She said, we're about to close. We've got plenty of extra bagels that will just go in the trash. Would you like a bag of bagels?
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
But no. I paired and I cared.
It is really impressive because you easily could have taken however many bagels and just ate them out in the car, and I never would have
100%.
even known about it.
Like
and I think there was a time you would have secretly eaten several before you came inside our place.
Oh, 100%. And I, for like a millisecond, whatever that is in whatever kilomillisecond.
That's a very small unit of time.
For a second, I was like, our daughter would love a bagel.
Oh,
she'll cry if I come home with sesame seed bagel, crumbs on my face. I should get her one. And my policy is 1, and done. And I said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And I scurried out as quickly as I could before I started negotiating with myself. But that is like a big...
Yeah, but that's a perfect real life example that just happened yesterday of I have a policy that I have one bagel when I get a haircut. And that's the policy. And so Catherine had an opportunity, a really easy, free opportunity.
Oh my gosh.
To have extra bagels and stuck to her policy.
How many loopholes? It's free. I can't afford not to. My family doesn't have enough carbohydrates at home.
Yeah.
I'm helping out a community.
Choosy moms worry about their family getting enough carbohydrates.
Well, and two, it's a local bagel establishment. I would hate for it to go to waste. Mm-hmm. It would be rude to say no. There are so many reasons I could have said yes, and I could have slammed like at least 3 in the 5-minute drive home.
Oh my goodness.
I also want to let you know, I waited until I got home to eat the bagel.
I can confirm. I saw that happen, yes.
So this is life actually happening for someone who loves a good bagel. So so anyway, that aside, pairing is caring.
Pairing is caring. So did we actually explain what pairing is caring is during all of that?
We did not. We just said it in musical pace.
We said it in unison.
Sorry, I just told
a big story about it.
Yeah. So pairing is caring is pairing a special treat with an occasional event. So for me, I pair a bagel with a haircut. Now, you can't pair every day with something like, when I put my key in the ignition of my car. Do people put their keys in ignitions anymore?
Oh, my goodness. I don't think they do. It's funny. When you said that, I didn't even think about the fact that I don't have a key to put in an ignition.
That is so weird. Anyway, so for the old-timey days, but it might not be beneficial to pair something every single day, but an occasional event like a haircut, or when you pay your rent or your mortgage, or when you go to the dentist or get a mammogram.
Or like an oil change, like something that you only do, these days it's like every 6 months for an oil change.
Right. But you don't even have to have it as I only get a bagel when I do the thing. It could be like, that is my time to choose an indulgence. So one time it might be a bagel, it might be a milkshake, that kind of thing, but just have it as an occasional treat. So it's still in your life. You have it to look forward to. So it makes it so that it is not forbidden, which for some reason I really enjoy saying forbidden because it sounds
forbidden bagel.
Forbidden.
Yeah. So some actual policies from my actual life is I don't eat treats before dinner. So we talked about, making them around time of day. So I have figured out that if I eat a treat could be a dessert type of thing or, a salty, chip type snack. If I eat those before dinner, it makes it really hard. It sort of like erodes my willpower, which is, maybe not the way I want to say that, but it opens the door kind of for me to want more and more of those sorts of treats. So I don't do it before dinner, but if I do it after dinner, which is closer to when I'm going to bed, it makes it easier for me to moderate.
No, and that time of day thing is a huge thing for me because I know that when I start, and this actually happened earlier in the week, I also did not pair and care, and I ate something early in the day, and it kind of derailed the rest of my day. So we'll make that a shorter story. But.
Yeah. And for example, another one around time of day is I don't eat sugar in the morning for basically the same reason as not eating treats before dinner. If I start my day with something like cereal or pancakes or waffles, all of those very, high sugar dessert-like breakfast foods that we typically eat, then I also find it much harder to stick to a plan throughout the day.
Yeah. And another one that Donald has that I work from home, so sometimes I stay at home and I work late, but Donald's is if I have to stay at work later than expected, I don't eat treats, but stick to real food. So again, it's that, what maybe there's an impulse to like, I'll just grab a handful of Chex Mix or,
right.
Oh, there's Coca-Cola in the refrigerator. I need to, pep up my caffeine intake. Donald has a policy of he just sticks to real food. So maybe that's a frozen meal, a Lucky meal, or if it is being catered, stick to an actual food instead of the dessert options.
Yeah, even if it's high calorie, I will only eat something that is sort of like a meal, not a treat in those circumstances.
Right. So, and this is a big one for me, and I do my best when I stick to this policy or standard is I only drink alcohol on the weekends unless I have pre-planned it. So again, if we're magically going out to dinner on a Wednesday, maybe I would have one, but typically I do my best when I save an alcoholic beverage for the weekend.
Absolutely. And, another example, we mentioned portion control. I only buy single serving, like those, 1 ounce or smaller little bags of chips, because that makes it much easier for me to control my portions. I don't forbid myself from having various kinds of chips, but I do, my policy is that I have one like small version of it. So I still get to enjoy the chips, but it's not like I'm not opening a whole giant bag and then having to resist the urge to eat all of it.
Yeah, I definitely do better with the single serving. And I know it can feel less economical to do that. But if I end up eating half of a bag of chips anyway, then I'm not getting 12 portions. I'm getting 2 portions.
Right.
So eliminating that temptation really does matter to me, because maybe, 7 times out of 10, I will be able to moderate. But then those 3 times that I don't moderate, it's not good. I'll let you know that.
Yeah.
Not good.
Absolutely. And so we did a much more in-depth episode about setting policies for yourself, and I think we've done a few of them, but one in particular was only burgers in the building that I will link to in the show notes if you want to examine a deeper dive about setting policies. But once you have your policies in place, and this doesn't mean that you write down 5 policies and then you're done making policies. Like, I constantly revise and add and subtract, like, as things in my life change. And as I figure out that, sometimes things work for me for months or years, and then suddenly they're not working as well for me. And so I have to, to revise and adjust. But once you have your policies in place, then you can start rewriting your self-negotiation with your new policies. And in the first part of this, we took from the article examples of self-negotiation. And so the author has now given examples at this portion of the article and at this portion of the podcast about how you can use your policies and sort of change your self-negotiation around your policies so that you eliminate the choice that detracts you from your goals. And so if we look back at some of those examples from that first episode and talk about how we can rewrite them.
So in this part, we're going to do sort of a call and repeat, and Catherine Weigel is going to be the one that has trouble with mindset. Donald is going to, I can't think of any like Dapper Donald or Undistracted Donald. I don't know. We should have come up with something different.
Yeah, Dapper Donald I like, though.
Okay, so here's Critical Kathy.
Critical
Ew, I don't like it.
I love it when you like gross yourself out with things you say. Yeah,
I don't like it.
Stuff.
Okay, so here's me. Here we go. That burger looks so good. If I had that for lunch, I'll work out an extra 30 minutes at the gym tonight, she lied.
Yeah, that's an example of the sort of self-negotiation that I would do all the time. Well, if I have this now, then I'll just exercise more later. And like, did I exercise more later? No. So what do you say instead? You say, that burger looks good, but I already planned to have a salad today. My healthy meal will fuel my body for my workout. If I still want the burger, I can have it in 2 days.
Yeah, and delaying that gratification really can matter.
And, so what changed? You're not making a split-second decision and giving into cravings. You're sticking to your policy, and you're not changing your schedule. But you're also not forbidding yourself from ever having the burger. One of the most gratifying things for me is to actually say to myself, well, okay, at this upcoming event, I'm going to have, X indulgent meal. And it gives me something to look forward to. I know that the meal is not forbidden. And then if I stick to my plan and then I have the indulgent meal and go right back on my plan, it is so satisfying to go through that. And it really makes the process gratifying in general to be able to like make your policies and stick to them.
Exactly. All right, here comes Critical Kathy.
Oh, no.
Okay, so this was an example from the author, so we might be able to change it up a little bit. But she says, I'm really too tired to read today. I worked really hard. I deserve to just relax with some wine and some Netflix. Uh-oh. So,
what should you say instead? I'm pretty tired, but I made a commitment to read. I'll read my 50 pages today and give myself time to watch Netflix this weekend. Now, if I was going to read 50 pages,
that would take me a year.
That would take me until this weekend.
Yeah.
to do it. But, the author is obviously a faster reader than me. So what changed? We aren't reacting to how we feel. We're sticking to our plan and allowing ourselves grace in a few days. So again, you're sticking to your policy of, doing what you said you were going to do in the moment. And then you're planning to do the other thing, the more, relaxing, enjoyable thing in a couple of days when you're more sober. And when you're making that sort of like sober, clear-headed decision, it feels a lot better and it makes it easier to reach your goals.
Right. So, for example, if you decided, again, I said I was going to make dinner tonight, but I'm really tired. So instead, I went to the freezer and had a Lucky Frozen meal. I stuck to my goals.
Right.
And you know what? I'll get takeout on the weekend when I can plan ahead for it. So being tired is definitely a reason, but you can adapt to that and not make it an excuse.
Yeah, and we talked about in the last episode about having that backup plan of that Lucky Frozen meal so that you have something on hand for when occasions come up when you feel like, you're too tired to make the meal that you had intended.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to call my mom every Saturday, but I've got nothing to say. I'll just call her next week.
Yeah. And you could change this to I wanted to meal prep on Saturday, or I was going to go on my walk on Saturday, or, whatever sort of health and fitnessy thing you want to change it to. But say instead, I won't get stuck in the details. I'll call my mom. Even if we don't have much to say, I made a commitment to check in. And so what changed? You've recognized that one act of avoidance is leading you down a slippery slope that will allow you to use the same excuse over and over again until you are no longer taking action towards your goal.
Right. So for this one, for me, I often make elaborate salads that might be Pinterest worthy or food inspo worthy. And it turns out maybe I don't have the time or the energy or the ingredients to make a really amazing salad. But you know what? I got some lettuce and I got some dressing. I could just have some lettuce. It's fine.
Right.
But when I get out of the practice of having salad, then I make more excuses about it. But not everything has to be the perfect conversation or the perfect workout or the perfect ideal meal. You can just be like, yeah, you know what? I'm sticking with the habit. Maybe tonight I'm just having carrots, and that's okay.
And again, going back to the plans and backup plans, if you just can't bring yourself to do that perfect meal prep that you had in mind where you were going to make yourself meals for the week and put them in individual labeled containers, maybe instead it's okay, so I'm going to then instead go to the store and get myself several pre-made meals from the store that fit into my plan, and I'm going to have them on hand so that I am ready rather than having to cook all of these things from scratch. But do something, because something is better than nothing.
Yeah, and I'm going to McDonald's put in the show notes our episode entitled Ideal a Meal, where we talk about the letting go of those ideal standards and going with who you are today and what you are have the capacity to do.
Absolutely. And I love being given homework.
Said no one ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another one. I know I said I wanted to limit my caffeine intake, but I'm just too tired. I'll go for that third cup today, and I'll cut back tomorrow.
Yeah, so
tomorrow never comes.
No, Sorry. It doesn't. So instead, say, of course I'm tired. I'm cutting my caffeine intake, but I will push through and perk myself up with a walk. Now, in terms of a health and fitness goal, maybe you were saying to yourself, I'm trying to cut down on, using that example I used earlier, I'm trying to cut down on my giant drinks like my giant, sugary drinks, but maybe you find something that is low calorie, like, unsweetened iced tea. Maybe that's a good substitute for your giant drink. Or, something that I have found works for me is I drink a lot of 0-calorie sparkling water, all those flavored sparkling waters like LaCroix and Waterloo and those things instead of a soda. And it really sort of scratches that itch for me, rather than just, doing that all or nothing thing.
Yeah.
So what changed? Your goal was to cut caffeine. So you identified the obvious reason why you were feeling that way. You used your fallback plan to stick to your goal. So that is another example of setting a policy and sticking to it.
Yep. Okay. And here's our last interactive, fun, good, Kathy Critical and Donnie Dapper. Or
yes.
Whatever. That doesn't make any sense.
The we only look thin players.
Yes. There we go. Okay. So I didn't want to spend anything this month. I'm on a budget. But this deal is too good to pass up. That goes in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I've made that excuse so many times.
Yeah, I still use this one when it comes to actual deals, not as much the food mindset, but the actual like, oh my goodness, I don't need any more t-shirts, but there's a sale on these t-shirts and they're so cool, like I have to buy them. So say instead, it's a good deal, but there will always be another deal. So I'm sticking to my commitment. And with food, you can say, it's something I really want, but there will always be another treat.
Well, and it's that thing of like, oh, well, this month they've got free breadsticks with every order. Oh, they've got a supersize for the same price as the one. Like, I didn't know that was going to be an offer. Like, boy, like when I made the promise to myself, I didn't know this option was available. But, we don't need that upgrade or the, bump in the size. Stick with what you say you're going to do. Yeah.
And people often use value as a loophole to get the larger sized like treat too when they're out, but the giant bucket of popcorn is only 50 cents more. Like it doesn't make sense for me to get the smaller one. Well, it does make sense if your primary goal is to stick to a calorie goal. And also, you're still saving that 50 cents, like that you're not spending.
I know.
So you're achieving two goals.
Right. So you're spending more to save more.
Yeah, you're spending more so that you can eat more and eat more calories. So you have recognized that external factors don't need to impact your internal desires. A sale urgently screams, buy me, this deal won't last long, but there's always another sale, or there is always another treat. There will always be another opportunity. You don't allow external urgency to detract from your goal. Yeah. And this is something that requires a lot of practice, and it requires like figuring out which policies actually work for you. But once you figure out that balance, it really is one of the big keys to achieving a lasting health and fitness goal.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, as we sort of finish up this 3-part series on negotiation, please be gentle with yourself, but also be critical of those old stories and those old words that you use. This is a process, and it can take a long time to uncover all of the ways we sort of self-sabotage ourselves. We don't even know that it's happening. So step back a little bit and be kind, but also just be aware of your thoughts in the moment.
Yeah, it's really important to not judge yourself, to stay away from those negative thoughts of saying like, oh, I'm just a terrible person. Why can't I do this? That kind of thing. But also at the same time, really, I'm paraphrasing what Catherine said, really be objectively critical. And really realize when you are just lying to yourself because you want the easy self-gratification, when you really just want to soothe yourself with food in the moment, and you really want to avoid that exercise that you promised yourself you were going to do. Because I talked myself into food and out of exercise for most of my life until I really figured out how to call myself on it and how to have these plans and backup plans and policies to take my spur of the moment whims and choices out of the whole thing.
Right. And if you find yourself saying, I just can't seem to make any progress, that might be a sign that you're using words like just one more, or maybe, or next time, or I'll start tomorrow, or later, or next month, whatever it is. If you start paying attention to how you use those words, I think you might find your own answers to why you may have stalled out. And remember that the more we practice flexing these muscles, the easier it will become. It feels hard at first. It feels it's not fair, but the less brain space we take, it's what it's called, brain space, right?
Brain space, absolutely, brain space. Yeah.
The less time we spend negotiating with ourselves, the more fluid it becomes, and the more you're just easier like, no, I don't want extra bagels. It's not a big deal. It's fine. I don't need more bagels. It becomes easier. And then when it becomes easier, then it's out of your mind. You can do other stuff with your brain.
Yes, indeed.
And very finally, just remember that there is a difference between a reason and an excuse. How do your choices make you feel? There are reasons. Reasons are going to come up for every season. But like,
remember the reason for the season is what you're saying?
But things really do come up, but adapting and having backup plans will help you go from being a victim of your circumstances to just adapting and being more resilient to changes in your life instead of just feeling like the world is against you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for filling up some of your brain space with this episode of the podcast. I'm pretty sure that some scientists will write in to confirm that they do call it brain space.
Brain space, yeah.
Absolutely. And so if you would like...
Scientists. If you're a scientist and you're listening to us.
Yeah. Please write in to confirm that we are correct.
Neil deGrasse.
That is called, Neil deGrasse Tyson. When you're listening, would you please let us know that it is called brain space? And if you would like to fill more of your brain space with more episodes of this show, they are available on all of the major podcast platforms wherever you found this episode, and also on our website at any time at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep. And if you are at weonlylookthin.com and you are a Swifty and a lady, it is a place for women, check out, I don't know, sorry.
You don't have to be a Swifty to join WOLT Place.
No, but it helps. No, it doesn't. It's fine. Okay. I'll go back.
There's a special Swifty subgroup in We Only Look Thin where you just talk about how much you love Taylor and you refer to her as Taylor.
Taylor. Yeah. But if you are at our website, I'll go back there. Click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about WOLT Place. We Only Look Thin Place is a Facebook-based accountability group for women and Swifties, if you are one. We are not a weight loss plan. We are not going to prescribe any plan to you, but if you want to come and have support and accountability and fellowship with other women who are on all parts of their weight loss journeys, it is a great place for accountability, check-ins, Zoom meetings, and it's just a safe place away from the prying eyes of the open internet for some additional accountability. So we have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day trial to see if WOLT Place is right for you.
Yeah, so check it out. And should we call fans of the show Wolties?
Wolties? I don't know. Wolties sound like an award. Like the Wolties, like for most Swift.
The fifth annual Wolties. Yeah. Well, we'll work on it. We'll find some.
Yeah, we usually call them Wolt Chums, but I don't know if that's.
I'm a Wolt chum. We should have T-shirts that say I'm a Wolt chum. But please check it out. Catherine does a wonderful job in that group, and it really is an invaluable resource for many on your weight loss and fitness journey. So please check it out. Also, if you would like to interact with us in other ways, you can find us on social media at We Only Look Thin on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or you can send us an email. We have a Gmail address, which is super fancy, called weonlylookthin@gmail.com. You can write to us there with episode suggestions, with questions. We've turned many listener episode suggestions and questions into episodes of this show. We've answered them that way. And also, we will answer them via writing from time to time. So please write in. We also love hearing compliments from you. So if you feel like like giving us a shout out, weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep. And if you have a couple of extra minutes and can head over to Apple Podcast and just leave us a rating and a review, you can do that on your app when you're listening to the phone or listening to your phone. Is that what you do?
Yes,
to your phone?
You listen to your phone.
But just press that 5-star. That would really help us. Not only does it make us know that what we are doing is making a difference in your life, but it also helps with all the robot algorithms when others are trying to find inspirational podcasts like ours.
Absolutely. It really does. Apple boosts us in search results when people are looking for health and fitness podcasts based on the more ratings and reviews that we have. So it really helps us out. And another thing that really helps us out is if you just tell people about the show in person, on the phone, over a Zoom call, maybe.
A Swifty meetup.
A Swifty meetup. Maybe you want to talk about health and fitness podcast there. You might be on a Discord group or a Reddit group or a Facebook group, something like Lose Weight, Eat Pizza, or the Lose It group on Reddit, or the Calories In, Calories Out group on Reddit. They're all pretty cool groups.
Just naming groups.
Yeah, I'm just naming groups. But if you want to give us a shout out, that really helps the show grow. It is one of the best ways in which the show grows, because if they, get a recommendation from somebody who genuinely listens and gets something out of the show, then that is meaningful for people. And we would appreciate if you would pass on the word.
Yep. So whether you're a fan of Taylor Swift, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Dapper Donnie, or Critical Kathy, just remember that Donald and I are an inspiration. Pluto's a planet.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.